Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Halfway House, the Golfing Dad's
Yay!
Halfway House. So tonight's topic on the Halfway House is the USGA or GHIN Handicapping System. I'm going to ask a few questions here. I know Steve's already the anti-that because he feels that he's getting sandbagged. There's our handicaps right there, our current handicaps. Out there, mine has been a lot lower than that, but I've been playing.
Pay no attention to the guy behind the screen.
So, Steve, yours has been going in the right direction here, but so
depends on how you look at it.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we're going to talk about here tonight. So, from a standpoint, the handicap system is out there to level the playing field. The purpose of the handicapping system is so that anyone can play with anyone in a match and have a fighting chance. Because if I go up against Scotty Scheffler, he's going to beat me every time. But
your 9.1 is not going to help you against Scotty Scheffler.
No, it's not going to help me against Scotty Scheffler.
You're getting one a hole at least.
I am, because he's a +9, so he has to give up 9 strokes to a scratch golfer. But that's the way the handicap system works, so it can be fair, so it can be competitive out there. And it's a great thing that you can do in this sport that you can't do in a lot of other sports. But some of us think the handicap system is a good thing. Some of us think that the handicap system might need to be changed. So, Dave, I know your answer on this. I know how you feel about it. So we're not going to go there first. We're going to go to Steve. And Steve, tell us how you feel about the handicap system and why.
Hold on, let me sit back and relax here and get comfortable because this is going to be a rant.
Could be.
You got a minute and a half, Steve.
Thanks, Sam Eagle.
I was going to say it should be to all nations, but mostly America. So here's the deal. And it's no secret, I play the World Amateur Golf Championship events, and those events are handicapped. My problem with the handicapping system, and it's funny because this goes into, there's a TikTok account that is doing deep dives. The problem that I have with it is the handicap system penalizes low handicap golfers way more than it penalizes high handicap golfers, because it looks at your potential and it looks at it, and you only play to your potential maybe 25% of the time. So if I go out, and I was playing twice a week this summer, and I got on a heater at the end of the summer playing some great golf, and it posted a 70, my handicap came down 2 strokes after posting a 70. The problem that I have with the system is we go to this event this week, and I'm playing off of a 3.7. It rounds up to 4. I get there. I look at my scorecard. They hand me my scorecard. It says I get 2. We started talking with some of the other guys because we're all friends. And so all of the low handicap players lost 2 strokes based on the course rating. Okay, fine. All of the high handicap golfers gained 2 strokes. So that's a 4-shot swing to start that we have to make up as low handicap golfers when you're playing in that event. So my problem with the system is, if we're supposed to level the playing field, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to use Dave as an example as a 19. Okay. Dave's a 19. Great. He goes out and posts a score. Let's just say he shoots 88.
Theoretically possible.
It's not going to bring his it's not going to bring his 19 down by 2 or 3 strokes. I go out and shoot 70, it brings my handicap down 2, almost 3 strokes from where it was. And the problem that I have with the system is it literally, and this is where there's an account on TikTok, Yip Strickler. You guys can go and look it up. He makes fun of sandbaggers, calls them sandbagging rats, and people will send him things in for their member guest or member that these guys show up and they win, and he makes fun of them for doing it. Now, the problem that I have with this is the only way, because of the way the handicap system works, and because of the way the high handicappers end up working it, the only way for low handicappers to be competitive at any of these events is you have to sandbag, because it's otherwise you can't compete with these guys that are already doing it.
So, Steve, I'm going to come in here and say, The problem is not the system. The system works. The system actually is fair because if you are posting your score as it is, you're getting your potential versus their potential. And that's the right way to handicap this. And the difference also out there is that a lot of people don't understand is that you only post up to a certain score based on your handicap too. You don't put a 10
Right.
in on a par 4. And that's where people sandbag is they put that in there and they don't adjust their score up accordingly for their
The GHIN
handicap.
system, if you go hole
If
by
you put it
hole
in
and you
hole by hole, yes.
by hole,
But
the GHIN system will adjust it.
but that's my point here is that a lot of people don't understand how it works. And that's the problem. So a lot of people that are high handicappers put in these scores, but they play better than that on average. And it slides the scale towards their favor because of that. And there are a lot of people out there, and Steve, you have said these words before yourself. Hey, I need to post this high score because I need my handicap to go up for this tournament.
Correct.
Which I think that the system works, and you need to post everything because you can play a course that is easy versus a course that is hard, shoot the same score, but your handicap, your differential is different. You're different. I could score a 70 on one course and a 70 on another course, but my differential on the easy course is probably going to be like a 5 versus the harder course where it's going to be a 10. So, or sorry, no, a 2 because it's going to go the other way. So a lot of factors come into this, and it's fair. The problem is not the system. The problem is the way people post and their misunderstanding of the system. So, Dave, I'm going to ask you this question. Why do you think it is a fair system in counter to what Steve just said?
You know, and I think I'm going to go to one of our favorite movies. You know, we've quoted it all the time. Golf is the only game of the world where you can call a penalty on yourself. And here's the thing. It's golf is an honor game. And if you're going to go out there and you're going to sandbag your scores, and at the end of the day, you're cheating yourself. And, you know, we've all, you know, at one point in time or another, we've all cheated the game of golf, whether it's a foot wedge, you know, whether it's throwing the ball out of the sand, whether it's something. We've all cheated the game of golf. It's why we, you know, drink beer and smoke cigars and have fun doing it. You know, but if you go back and, you know, watch our tavern show from Tuesday, you know, with Tyler, you know, I was talking about, you know, his Eagle golf systems and what he does for clubs. I was talking about our local, you know, 9-hole course. Now, I know I use an app called My Scorecard.
A lot of people do.
Track my scores. Yep. I could do it by hole, or I could do it, you know, overall. I usually choose the overall. I probably should start doing it by hole, but I'm not putting in my scores from the 9-hole course. Should I? You know, that's yes. A question for another day. You know, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's how you're seeing yourself. And like, I think to Greg's point, as shooting a 70 on 2 different courses is not the same when it comes down to the slope rating and, you know, the overall rating of the course. And I think once people start understanding that you can't just go out and say you go out and you shoot 90 every time and you call yourself an 18 handicapper, that's just not the way that everything works. You have to, you know, look at hole by hole, and a par 5 on one course is different than a par 5. It may be the 17th easiest hole, you know, on a course, if that's that par 5 as compared to the number 1. And if you make birdie on both, that birdie on the hardest par 5 is going to count a lot more, you know, towards your score adjustment than the birdie on the easiest par 5. So I think it's an educational thing with the system. I believe the system works for the way it is. It gives me you know, it levels the playing field for me when I get out there and I play with the two of you guys. You know, like, you know, we talked about, you know, there it is. You know, should I, you know, with a 19 handicap, should I be playing a tee up from the two of you? Yes, I should. Do I? No, because I get enough ridicule out on the course anyway. But I think people need
There's
to start understanding where your handicap falls is where you should be playing from. I'm a 19. I have no business being back on the tips. I have zero. I almost have zero business playing at some of the tees I do with you guys, but that's what you do. You go out there and you have fun. But if we were going to really look at this, from a handicapping perspective on where I am and where the course ratings are, I probably should be playing a set of tees up, from the two of you.
So funny you should say that, because this goes to kind of Steve's point about like playing in tournaments where it can affect that. Is your handicap changes based on the on each course what tee you play. So if you and I played the same course and you played up a tee box and I played back a tee box, I would actually give you less strokes because you're getting that advantage up there, which a lot of people don't realize. And I will say that makes it a lot more fun. I started using handicapping to play against friends, and it became a lot more fun because there are some friends that I'm a lot better than, and there's some friends that are a lot better than me, and it really does even the playing field. And I think when you play with an honest group like that, that's where this system does work. The one thing I do have a problem with, and Dave, you brought this up, so I'm going to go there, is the new 9-hole score. I do not like the new system for that.
I don't either.
I like the old system because if I'm playing 18, I could have a front 9 that I play really bad and then a back 9 that I go lights out and play amazing. And my score would come back together. Now you play 9, it averages it out for the 18 and gives you a score. So it's based on that front 9. So I think two things need to happen. One, just give me the slope and rating for the 9 holes in my handicap, and I can have a 9-hole handicap, or go back to what it was where I got to put 2 9 holes together, because I think that's a fair estimation of my 18-hole handicap.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it needs to change.
I still need somebody way smarter than the three of us to say to me and explain the logic that if a course, and I'll use the course that we played this weekend in the WAGC event, course rating was 69. I understand why I lose 2 strokes as a 3.7 with a course rating of 69 from the tees that we played. But we're all playing the same course.
By people that don't understand, a 69 is an easier course, but you also have to take the slope into there as well.
So the problem that I have is, how do I lose 2 on a course rating of 69, but the higher handicaps are all getting 2?
Well, it's because the way the system works, and
course rating is still the same no matter what your handicap is.
It is, but they're gaining 2 because of it could be that, like we said, the tees that you're playing there. Like, that's something that tournaments need to look at is, hey, if they're higher handicaps, maybe they need to play up a tee box and you play back a tee box. That's a way to solve that problem, because when you're playing the same tee box, that really changes the differential there. Because if you're playing a 3 and you're playing against that, you also need to flight systems, and to the best of everything, like Dave said, this is a game of honesty. Like, we all take mulligans now here and there, but if you're taking all of these and you're really or just adding to your score to fluff your score up because you're going to play in tournaments, you're hurting the game. You're not helping the game. You're not helping yourself there. Put your score down for what it is.
Here's the problem from a low handicap perspective. The only way we can compete when you show up for these events, because everybody else is doing it, is you got to do it too.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is you're hurting the game, and you're hurting everyone's integrity at that time, which is bad for the game of golf. This system is put in to help people, and you're just
Steve, I got a solution for you. Suck at golf.
Stop playing golf.
Suck at golf.
Play like Dave.
Play like Dave. I'll win.
And here's the thing: I'm a competitive guy. I want to get my handicap as low as possible, and I want to do that. I don't care that I'm playing against people like that. And if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose. And you're the one who has to live with it. You lied to win. Like, I don't care if I win or lose at that point. I want to win every time I'm out there. But if I lose because of something like that, that's on you, not on me. Like, I know my game. I played it. Like, if I had a great day, and I've played with sandbaggers out there, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Like, when you're playing in those events with that. So until people stop lying, there's not going to be a system that we can put in place unless there is a official score with every group at every golf course. But that'll jack the prices up extraordinary.
We've all seen the videos of the teams that come in tied at 55 after a scramble, and you go out to a playoff, and they're getting exposed for what they truly are, going out there and shooting that. And again, it comes down to it is winning and bragging rights more important for you than the integrity of the game.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I heard a great solution to is in those scramble events where people are posting like a 45 and lying about their score and things like that. What they should do is take the top 3 teams in the end, and they have to play a playoff hole in front of everybody else.
In front of everybody.
And now you got to show us that you can actually do this to actually win that event. I thought that was a clever idea that someone had on Instagram.
Yeah. For me, it makes it more competitive, for me to go out there and am I going to get at 19? Am I getting, 2 shots over Steve on, the hardest hole out there? Am I still going to post a 7 or 8? It's possible, am I going to post a 5 and he's going to post a 5 and I'm going to win the hole?
You're damn right
50 chance.
Is that going to piss Steve off? It is.
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to, watch him throw a club and, do everything else. But, for me, it makes my round a lot more fun knowing that I can hang with you guys, a little bit more than, going out there and just being, hammered left and right, rather than just verbally. And look, I play Army golf. I paid to see the whole course. I paid to see the whole course.
Hammered by like our play is better than yours. Or you just drinking a lot.
Yes.
I had to define hammered there for some people.
Yeah.
On the same page.
I play Army golf. I like to see the whole course. I paid for it sometimes.
So one thing that I think is that makes it fair for everyone. And I've always said this, that when you're playing someone who is sandbagging, you can tell they're a better golfer than their handicap says. When you're playing someone who has a high handicap, and you can tell they have a high handicap, and it's fair. So to your point, Steve, I think that's where it kind of comes in. Is it's more frustrating when you're looking at someone and you're like, I can see your game, I can see your swing, I can see how you go through a course. You can have a bad round, but you know how to play this game. Your handicap is not what you say it is. And that is frustrating.
Yeah.
So, Steve, if you had to change, like, what's one thing that you would suggest to these tournaments and things that they could do better to help with this?
It's funny. There's been a lot of talk in our group about the WAGC events, partly because they have a max score of quad on a hole. Highest score you can make on a hole is 4 over, right? Well, if someone getting 2 strokes on a hole makes a quad and they pick up in the middle of the fairway because they pumped 2 balls out of bounds or in the water and they've had to reload, and they're at 8 on a par 4, right, in the middle of the fairway, and they pick up because they end up making 8 for 6 on that hole.
So that's wrong. If you pick up, you shouldn't get your handicap. You should get that 8 and concede the hole at that point. Like, I don't care what anyone else shoots. If I finish the hole, I should win over someone who concedes.
Now, here's the problem that I have in this event. So if I go out like I did the other day, and the weather, there was rain up and down the coast. So there was rain coming in, going north up the coastline. And we were over Port Orange area, Daytona area. And it was raining, and we get to a hole. It's a par 4, playing dead into the wind, into the rain. And I was trying to hit a knockdown, like a stinger 3-wood underneath the wind, and knock it out there. And I'll be honest, I flat topped one off the tee box, right into the water. Yeah, literally, I was like, skip. Nope, it's not going to go. I made triple on that hole. Now, in the tournament, I don't get a stroke on this hole. It's not one of the 2 hardest holes in the golf course. I don't stroke on that hole. So I've got to take the 7 in the tournament. However, based on the GHIN handicap rating, when that score goes in for my GHIN, it only goes in as a 6.
Yes,
because
double's the highest you can take. It's net.
Yeah.
So if it was a number 1 handicap hole, you would get a stroke.
I would get a stroke.
Handicap. Yeah.
I parred the number 1 and 2 handicap holes in the golf course, so I made 4 net 3 on both of them.
Stop playing the hard holes better.
Right.
Yeah.
Just saying, it's
But-
that simple, Steve.
It's
that's I think where I see an issue is I'm double hammered there because I have to take the triple in the tournament, so that goes into my score. But then when I get posted, it doesn't help my handicap that one extra score in there because it knocks that down. So, there's got to be a better system in these net events to make it fair for. And I don't know. Again, I hate to say this, but I really don't know what the answer is because no matter what you do, it's going to favor one side or the other.
So I actually
You know,
have an
I
answer
think-
to what you're saying there. Go ahead, Dave.
I think, we're going to go back, here. And I think Mike Leach, said it best years ago when we were talking about college football playoffs. He's like, I don't know how everybody from beer league softball on down can figure out a 12-team tournament and the NCAA can't. So, I think that's where we're at right now is golf as a whole just can't figure out how the system works right now. Could it be better? Yes, but how to get to that is trying to figure out beer league softball to the NCAA championships. Somewhere out there, 3 guys sitting around on a podcast with microphones and headsets have ideas. It's just a matter if they come to fruition.
So one of the ideas that I think could be there is you weight things differently. Like we talked about how the course weights to another course, like that you're going to have differently. Tee boxes, the handicap is weighed differently. I think if you're playing a casual round, it should weigh different than a tournament round because you're under more pressure in that round when you're playing a match against someone that's for an event. And I think, and you can put that in the system that way. It's there. Like if you enter in the GHIN system, it asks, is it a home event? Is it casual? Is it a tournament? Like you need to have that weight a little bit differently so that in that case, Steve, you might get that stroke there because that pressure was on. So it makes the course, instead of being a 69.9, that course is now playing as a 71 in a tournament.
Now, here's the other thing. And that's actually not a terrible idea, Greg. I actually like that idea. The problem that I see with it is when you look at tournament round, whether it's a competitive round or not, a lower handicap is going to put more pressure on themselves to play well because they know they can't screw up. Dave can make an 8 on a hole getting 2 strokes, and he's going to be like, yeah, whatever. I just made 8 there, so now I just made 6. It doesn't matter to me. I just saved my butt because of the way it worked. The challenge that I have is a lower handicap is going to feel pressure more because they can't screw up.
Well, I think that's a good point. And you can also, so to an addendum to what I just said is you then take it and say, okay, if you and I are playing, Steve, and I'm not giving you that many strokes there, then the pressure there is different. But if you're playing Dave and you're giving up a lot of strokes there, you rank that differently. So if you're the one getting a lot of strokes, then the handicap system works fine, but you have to adjust for those lower handicappers too when you're entering their scores in the system. And I think scores need to be entered. Like you need to fill out an official scorecard in those events. And I should not enter my own score in the handicapping system. It should be entered by that event. If you are requiring me to have a handicap for that event, we
have cards. We have white cards. Plus we have, we put them into Golf Genius, and Golf Genius updates. It sends it right to GHIN when the
exactly. And that's Golf Genius is a good one. I use that in my league too. But that's the same thing. Like if it's a league event, don't weigh it as much. But if it's an actual like tournament event, then yes, I think you need to have those different adjusters.
At the same time, from the high handicap guy here, let's we'll go back to the chart. And if I'm getting these strokes, I'm still putting that same amount of pressure on myself playing against because we're all friends, and B, the goal is to beat Steve. Does that happen? No, it doesn't. But for me as the low handicapper, going out
unless I'm playing an US Open qualifier.
But here's the thing for somebody.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody, from my, taking the low handicap when you're going out there, whether it's with your friends or not, the pressure is still the same for me. Whether I'm getting, I still may it is.
You feel the pressure.
Because
I can say.
Well, here's the thing: if I continue to take 8, the pressure's the same. Because if I continue to take 8s, the verbal abuse is going to keep coming and coming and coming. It's not about the way that my game goes or what the scores is. The verbal abuse keeps coming, and that gets in the back of your head. It's not about, you know, how you're playing.
So
it's about the guys you're playing with.
I'm just going to ask,
it is a mental game. It is a mental game because the point of the handicap is to help you out, but not when you're playing with your friends.
So yeah, no, that's true. But that's a little bit different. But I will say, so Dave, you're playing as a high handicap. Steve and I, we are in the kind of that middle range where we play players that are a lot better than we are, and we play players that we are better than. You do too at times, but it's a lot closer in there. So like, I'll play plus handicaps, and to be honest, the pressure on me is not there as much because I know on certain holes my game is different. I'm going to strategize differently, and I'm going to be like, hey, I have to attack this hole because I know that I'm getting a stroke here, and this is my chance to pounce on this. And then on the other holes, I have to keep up with him. In the reverse, when you are playing as giving strokes, dear God, you feel like you have to play every hole like it's your best hole because
like
you don't want to give up
like
anything.
when I'm playing my brother-in-law.
Exactly. So like that's where it is a little bit different. It's just that mental game of it. When you're playing us and we're giving you a hard time, that's a different mental game, but that shouldn't affect your handicap score. It affects your mental handicap and not your golf handicap.
Yeah.
So
But hey, I think, you know, we've come up with some great ideas, you know, tonight. Like I said, you know, 3 guys on a podcast, you know, have some great ideas. It's just a matter of somebody listening to them down the road.
Yeah.
But
I almost wish they would take your last 20 scorers and count all 20 of them and not look at your potential.
Well, that's what your potential. I think it just, they weigh it that way. I think that would show you the same score, to be honest with you.
You do the 8 best of your
most of my last 20 scores.
No, I know what you do.
1.
You do, but what I'm saying is, if you put all that together, I think you're still, the differential between like you and Dave would still be the same distance apart. In all honesty, but tell us what you think in the comments. Topics you want, what you think about the handicap system. If you like our ideas, please share them with the USGA, and we are more than happy to help improve the system because, like I said, it's a good system. Be better, be honest, help the integrity of the game because it's more fun for all of us when everyone's out there just having a good time.
Hey, Vanna White, thanks for the sign tonight too.
Yes.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, everybody.
I'm really fortunate, man. I mean, having the opportunity to build something that's
viral on our TikTok. That somebody was commenting about playing whistling straights on 700